Good day, good day, good day, everyone. Welcome to Morning Sip with Reb Melissa. I am Reb Melissa. SIP stands for Spirit and Practice, where we practice because practice makes progress. Yes, it does. So I hope everyone is doing well today. I am happy to be with you all. We are in a new series that started yesterday, and that series is announcement. Announcement. And I asked you this question: what are you announcing to the universe? What are you announcing to the universe? And so yesterday I shared an announcement that March 31st will be my last streaming of Morning Sip on New Thought Media Network. So some of you have reached out to ask, what does that mean, Rev Melissa? What it means is Morning Sip continues, it's moving forward, it's expanding, it's thriving, it is going to its next evolution, if you will. However, it will not be on New Thought Media Network. So if you currently watch Morning Sip with Red Melissa on the New Thought Media Network platform, I lovingly invite you to tune in starting April 1st. Tune in to Morning Sip via my streaming on YouTube at I Am Rev Melissa and on Facebook at I Am Rev Melissa. That's the only difference. And many of you are already tuning in via YouTube, which I really love because ultimately that's the direction that I'm going to pay more focused attention, my digital presence on YouTube. So I'm glad if you're watching me on YouTube at I Am Rep Melissa. And if you haven't subscribed to I Am Rep Melissa on YouTube, please do so and tell a friend. Tell a friend to subscribe to I Am Rep Melissa on YouTube if they would like a morning dose of inspiration, if they would like to receive something that they could put into practice in their lives now, if they would like to hear a word that may inspire them to take an inspired action in their life. And so today, I see you, I see you, Joe Ray. She said, woo, I'm already tuning in on YouTube. So you're already there. So let me just check in with y'all YouTubers. I know Pamela is watching me on YouTube. It's good to see you, Ron, watching on YouTube. So many of you are already watching on YouTube. Shay said, girl, you will not believe the synchronicity of this one. Ice skating is on my vision board this year, and I invested a lot of money on new states. I have to drive more than an hour for a rink. So we're going to talk about synchronicity in a moment. Good day, Bonnie, also tuning in on YouTube. So that's good to see. That's good to know. Fee said, I'm watching you on Facebook. All right. That's all good, Fee. But sometime in the future, I'm not sure when, it will be exclusively on YouTube. And I see you say cool already on YouTube. So fabulous. So what are you announcing to the universe? And last year, I was announcing to the universe a question about Morning Sip. What is my next thing to do? Should I stay on New Thought Media Network? Or is it time for me to complete this part of the process of Morning Sip or not? And then New Thought Media Network decided it was making some changes with its business model, which was exactly what I needed when we talk about synchronicity. It was exactly what I needed to finally take action. So it's wonderful. Isn't it wonderful when we have a question, we get direction, we get clarity, and we take action? It's wonderful. And then sometimes we need some help, right? We need some help from other people in our circle to just give us that little something more that we need, and the universe giving us that little push that we need to finally move forward. And so I had a combination of two of those things happening at the same time, and finally made the decision to complete the gift of being on New Thought Media Network effective March 31st. So yesterday I shared that I had an announcement, because this is going to be a whole week of announcements as you consider, what are you announcing to the universe? So we announce to the universe all the time, consciously and unconsciously. And we could just look at our lives to see what it is that we are unconsciously announcing to the universe, and then make a conscious choice to shift if it's not in alignment with the desires of our heart. Yes? So it's all information. It's all what we get to use to decide how we are moving and showing up in our lives and in the world. And that is a gift. So it's nothing to like wallow in. Why didn't I make this decision last year? Um, or I made the decision last year and everything went sideways. Well, things may be sideways sometimes when we make a decision to move forward. It may appear that way, or we can look at it in another way. Things are getting into alignment, and sometimes things seems a little wonky as they come back into alignment. So just be patient with the process, be patient with yourself. Don't give up, don't turn back, right? We keep moving forward. So what are you announcing to the universe? And I invite you to write it down, What are the desires of your heart that you are consciously announcing to the universe, so that the universe can do its part, right? The universe can work at the how. I didn't know how when I said last year, maybe it's time for me to move off of New Thought Media Network, or maybe it's time for me to do something different with the show, or maybe dot, 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 right? I didn't know how, but guess what? God worked out the how and uses those in our universe, if you will, to support us, to help us along. And sometimes it may feel like they're not helping us along, but then with some perspective, we can see how it was helpful, right? So why not view it as helpful now? We don't have to wait to view things in a different light. We could start to view them in a different light now. And we have so many examples of that in our lives when we reflect back, that this thing that seemed like it was not for me really was for me. And I can see that now. So it is all good. So my second announcement in alignment with this is Robert Brzezinski is the founder, visionary of New Thought Media Network, and he will be my guest on this show, on Morning Sip, on the last streaming of the show on New Thought Media Network. So he will be my guest on March 31st. And I am so excited to complete this journey with him in conversation. And so you all would get to tune in to that as we share and reminisce and share, our visions for our work, his vision for New Thought Media Network, my vision for Morning Sip, And I know that there will be opportunities in the future for us to collaborate again, just in a different way. Yes? So, Shay brought up synchronicity. And that was my second question for you to hold in contemplation, maybe to write down as a journal prompt for yourself. Are you paying attention to synchronicity signals? Are you paying attention to synchronicity signals? So I believe that there are no coincidences. There are none, no coincidences. I believe in synchronicity. I believe in the flow. I believe in the power of synchronicity and the energy of synchronicity. And this is a perfect example of that. I have been thinking about it, putting energy out there into the atmosphere. Robert's been doing his thing, thinking about it, putting energy out into the atmosphere. And at some point, these energies attract each other. Yes? And so while I'm sitting wondering in the midst of indecision, he made a decision. And him sharing his decision, synchronicity appeared. It showed itself to me through him and influenced me saying, okay, Melissa, it's time to make a decision, one way or the other. No more sitting on the fence. So pay attention to synchronicity, to the signals of synchronicity, right? We often talk about, I need a sign, right? I'm talking about synchronicity when things start to align and demonstrate to you for you to pay attention. Now you could call it a sign, that's fine. But the way that I view it is synchronicity. It is alignment. It is like things attracting like things to support you. And do we pay attention to those like things? Those things that have a similar energy vibration. Do we pay attention to those things or not? And I know many of us have had this experience of thinking about somebody and then they call you or they send you a text, or you're out and about and intuition says, oh, go this way. And then you wind up running into somebody that you have been thinking about. Have you had that experience in your life? I've had that many, 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 many times. And oftentimes now, if I'm thinking about somebody and they stay on my mind, I just reach out to them. And 9 times out of 10, they would say to me, oh my goodness, I was just thinking about you. That's synchronicity, right? That's how we magnetize and draw things into our personal universe, because we're all connected, right? I like to think of myself as a tree, because you'll know how I feel about trees. And there are all these branches on the trees, right? But they are grounded in the roots, right? So we ground ourselves in the root of who we are, divine beings of light. And that blossoming grows and expands through all of these branches. And so we get to decide what we want to blossom, what fruit shall bear, based on what we are rooted in, what we are seeding in our soul. And synchronicity supports that. Again, consciously or unconsciously, you are putting out messages. You are making your desires and the things you do not desire known in the universe. And what does the universe say? It says yes. It says yes. So I was coaching someone the other day, and she was sharing that she has no idea what she wants in her life. She don't know what direction she wants to go in. She is like totally in this space of not knowing. And so I gave her an assignment of writing down everything that she does not want, to write down every direction that she knows she doesn't want to go in, to just get it out, right? Get it out of her mind, get it out of her body, to get it out so she could look at it and see it in black and white. And then once she did that, to rip it up and say, I am complete with this not knowing. And then sit in the silence and just invite that vibration, that intention of accessing the question, the answer to that question that is within her, because she thought I had the answer. I don't have nobody's answers. I have my own answers. I don't have anyone's answers. So that's where she is. And that's a good place to be, to sit in the question, because you answer the question of what you don't want and the direction you don't want to go in. You answer that question, and that is now complete. So that's like clutter, right? You can clear out that clutter and invite synchronicity in, invite clarity in, invite just an open space in. And so we get to pay attention when these signs occur, when synchronicity knocks on your door and says, hello, did you order something? Here I am. And it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be. Even in the indecision, we can decide that it is a wonderful place to be. Even in the not knowing what we want, we can decide this is a wonderful place to be. So, are you paying attention to synchronicity signals in your life? Welcome them. Ask for more. Yes? All right, y'all. So let me check in with y'all, and then we'll get into some joy news. I see you, Maria, sharing all around us, happening in the now. Just notice all the divine signs. Yes, Maria. Yes. Shay said, thank you, New Thought Media Network, for bringing us together. Love you all so much at Rockland CSL. Love my talks with Rev Mel. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate that. Love you as well. Maria said, yes, always says yes. Yes, the universe always says yes. Angel numbers, feathers, pennies. Yes, all the things, Maria, all of the things, all of the time. What are we paying attention to? Pay attention to synchronicity. Pay attention to synchronicity. All right. So let's get into some joy news. We're going to continue with the announcements tomorrow. Is there something that you would like to announce to the world, to the universe, to me? You can send me a direct message if you would like to do so in private. I would love to know, and how I can support you in doing so. So, joy news. I guess joy news is like announcements too, isn't it? So let's see. Please mark your calendars. Please mark your calendars, because our next meditation with the full moon is on April 1st, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's when our new season begins of Morning Sip, exclusively on I am Red Melissa on YouTube and Facebook. So we kick off season 7, y'all. We kick off season 7. The anniversary of the show is April 6th, but that's on a Monday. And I just thought it would be really nice and cool and in synchronicity to start the season with the full moon meditation. So mark your calendars now, April 1st, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on I Am Red Melissa at YouTube and Facebook. All right? And I'll remind you of that as well. I think that's all. That's it for Joy News today. Let me just give you one thing at a time. So there you have it. And if you need support, I am a spiritual life coach. I'm an interfaith minister. I'm a minister at Rockland Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a New Thought Center in Rockland County. We have services online, virtually, every Sunday, and in person the first and third Sunday of the month. You can get more information about Rockland CSL by going to our website, rocklandcsl.org. And if you are looking for a spiritual life coach, if you need support around what am I announcing to the universe, I have no idea. I could use some support, getting some clarity about the desires of my heart, about I know what my purpose is, but I am just stuck with making the next steps and creating a plan for myself. Well, how synchronistic is it that you would be watching the show today? So reach out to me. I am redmelissa@gmail.com. And we could set up some time to talk. Yes? Yes. All right, y'all. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful today. Peace and blessings. Peace and justice. We're living life in joy, connected to our yes.